Yeah, comes on everyone. Let's start off. Sure. So last thing we did was this, the clock problem. Next thing, average acceleration. This is the symbol for acceleration, which is given by change in velocity. Surya, saying something. By time. So basically, this is delta V bar by delta T, which is simply V final minus V initial by time. Now, if you talk about A instantaneous, limit delta T tends to 0, this is how we write delta V bar by delta T. So if you make the time very, very small, then the change in velocity by time, this becomes dV by dt. This is the whole point of differentiation. When you take the time interval so small, you start getting the average becomes instantaneous and delta becomes d. So that's it. So don't really get worried about this limit and all that thing. What it is simply trying to say is when you take average velocity for very, very small time intervals, what you get is actually instantaneous acceleration. And from here we get acceleration is dv by dt. So we can write acceleration is dv by dt and multiply and divide by dr. That becomes v. So we get v dv by dr. So a proper form is vx, meaning velocity in x direction, change in velocity in x direction by dx. I cap. So this is a proper vector format when you are writing this. Vy dvy by dy coordinate. Vz dvz by dz coordinate. So this is ax, which is acceleration along x-axis. This is ay, acceleration along y-axis. This is az, acceleration along z-axis. Have a look at this. So till now, all this differentiation and integration, what we did, v dv by dr, we were only using for one-dimensional. But this is the right format of writing v dv by dx. I cap, j cap, k cap. Have a look at this. All clear with this? Hope everyone has given the exam yesterday. From this week onwards, now test will be on Saturday, and we'll have timeline till Thursday. because I think your classes and exams will happen on Sunday or Monday, so people are not getting time to write it on Monday. All clear with this page? Daksh, sit straight, everyone. Let's focus. Next thing. Let's see a question. So we have a particle going on a circle, x-axis, y-axis, r is the radius. So we have a particle here going with speed u. At t0, you're here on the x-axis. The center is the origin 0, 0. And so basically this point is r, 0, the initial point. A particle goes in a circle of radius r with speed u. Constant speed u. You can write down the questions or you can maybe screenshot this. We have a lot of questions, so I'll keep turning the page anyways. But the first thing, find r bar as function of time t, basically the position vector. We have done this in vectors. Find displacement vector at time t. Find average velocity at time t. Find dr by dt, so dr bar by dt and d mod r by dt. Both are completely two different things. Dr by dt, d mod r by dt. Find average acceleration. This question will literally cover everything at time t. Find dv bar by dt and d mod v bar by dt. So that mod, right, will mess up the whole thing. Find integral 0 to pi r by u v bar dt and integral mod v bar and dt from 0 to pi r by u. There. Then in total 8 equations. And there are 10 parts. This is how we prefer to learn. Instead of doing 10 different questions, take one question and dissect into each and every piece possible. Think of everything that is there. That is what you mean by going in depth. This is the best way to example. The example of that is this only. You take one question and you ask, say, how many things you can ask. You can take a screenshot. You can put down the question. Let's start doing this. I'll give you a minute. If you want to put it on, put it on. There you have vectors, calculus, differentiation, everything. Kinematics. Let's see. Yeah, first one was easy. We have done that. Let's try first three. I'll give you 2 minutes. First was easy. That we have done in vectors. You're right, Vojas. Keep going. Everyone should try. It's okay to get wrong answers, but try. Let's see the first one. Hmm. So after time t, let's say you reach somewhere here. This is your r bar. So if you drop a perpendicular, this is theta. This would be r cos theta, and this would be r sin theta. And we know theta is nothing but, if you see, this is your arc length, which is r into theta, which is actually u into t, speed into time. So from here we get theta is the arc length by radius. So we get r bar as function of time t is r cos theta I cap plus r sin theta j cap. You can substitute theta there, you'll get the answer. That's your position vector. What is displacement vector? Displacement is simply r final vector minus r initial vector. So here, what is r final vector? Is this guy, r cos theta I cap plus r sin theta j cap. What is initial vector? Initial vector is minus r I cap, isn't it? Because initially, where is the particle? Initially, the particle is here. This is your r initial, which is r I cap. And this was your r final, which we calculated just now. So what we are trying to find, the displacement vector is this line, the diagonal. That the black line is a displacement vector. The line joining initial to the final point. Now, if they ask you in the exam vector form, you're done. Answer is this much only. Cos theta minus 1 I cap plus r sin theta j cap. This is your answer in vector form. But sometimes they'll ask you the magnitude. That would be important, mostly a CET level or a bits level question. So the magnitude of displacement r, this will be root over cos theta minus 1 whole square plus sin theta ka square. When you expand this, you end up with cos square theta sin square theta becomes 1. You'll have minus 2 cos theta, and this becomes again 1. You can take out the root 2 common and you end up with root over 1 minus cos theta. And I hope you remember 1 minus cos theta is nothing but 2 sine square theta by 2. The trigonometry thing. So the formula is 2r sine theta by 2. This is the magnitude of displacement. This is the length of that the dark line, the black line which I brought here. If they just want the magnitude, answer is 2r sine theta by 2. Do have a look at this. This is your distance and displacement, everyone. Any doubts on this thing, please ask. Got this thing? Go for the third one, average velocity. What is average velocity? Again, the definition. Average velocity is change in velocity, displacement by time. So displacement just now we calculated r cos theta minus 1 I cap r sine theta j cap by time. Then direct substitution, there's nothing then. But if you want the magnitude of average velocity, then this would be 2r sine theta by 2, which we have just calculated by time. That would be the magnitude. Now, coming to the main thing, that's d mod r by dt. What the hell is this? Think for a minute. dr by dt, fine. D mod r by dt means what? Think for a minute, then I'll explain you. To put it in simple terms, r bar is a vector, mod r bar is a scalar. So first one is a vector differentiation, second one is a scalar differentiation. That much you can say mathematically. It is not speed. You know what will be speed? This is speed. Mod of dr by dt is speed. Velocity ka magnitude is speed, isn't it? So where you keep the mod will change the whole meaning. So if I ask you this question in the exam, I would ask you this guy. I would ask you this guy, and this guy, and this guy. These are the 4 things maybe I would have asked you. See, let me explain you D part. So we have position vector. There are 2 ways you can do the D part. Say u cos ut by r I cap plus u sin ut by r j cap. So if you want dr by dt, indirectly what you're asking is velocity. So if you differentiate this, you end up with minus u, that this is r axis, my mistake. U by r comes out. Remember chain rule, cos ka differential is sine of ut by r, and then again u by r comes out. I'm writing it directly. You can check it out. You're confused, please ask. This is my plus u cos ut by r j cap. This is your velocity vector. You could have done this like this also, instead of doing differentiation. If you understood what is dr by dt, all I'm asking you is the velocity of vector. So at this point here, the velocity is going u this way. This is theta. This is theta. So this angle is 90 minus theta. So the components are u sine 90 minus theta, which is u cos theta. And this is u cos 90 minus theta, which is u sin theta. There, that's what you got. So this is minus u sin theta I cap pointing left side. That's why minus I cap. This is u cos theta pointing upward, so u cos theta check. So if you understood the meaning of dr by dt velocity, either you can differentiate or you can just take velocity and divide into component. It's the same thing. Let's see what is d mod r by dt in the next page. But any doubts on this page, please ask me. So dr by dt is velocity. Any doubt so far? Daksha? Clear? Ahana? Clear so far? Arnav? Arya? Abhinav? Now let's try to see the meaning of each one. dr by dt is v bar, which is velocity. dr by dt come modulus is magnitude of v. This is speed. d mod r by dt, this is something else. This is rate of change of length of the vector. This is not velocity. This is not speed. This is nothing. Rate of, what is mod r bar? The length of the vector, isn't it? Rate of change of length of the vector. So in our scenario, what is mod r bar? Mod r bar is nothing but the radius, which is r and which is constant. So I'm asking you, when this particle is going in a circle, what is the rate of change of length of the vector? Now you tell me, no matter how much this vector rotates, is the length changing? So what is d mod r by dt? 0. I hope that is making sense. Will this be 0 every time? Not necessary. For example, see, if a particle is going like this, try to understand how is the position vector. This is the position vector. Now this is the position vector. This is the position vector. Can you see now the length is changing? Now dr by dt won't be 0 in this case. d mod r by dt is the rate at which the length of the vector is changing. So this magnitude ka rate we want. In a circle, it is 0, but normally it need not be 0. We will do something like that later on. But did everyone got the meaning of d mod r by dt? It's a vector ka magnitude, the length of the vector ka rate of change. So be careful, where you keep the mod will change the whole answer. If the mod is outside, it is speed. If the mod is inside, it is something else. There's a term for it. We will see that in the next question. But for now, let's be very clear what is d mod r by dt. Then what is the E part? Average acceleration. Have a look at this page. Any doubts, please ask. Clear with this? Keep going ahead. Clear na, Ishana? Nikhil? Niharika? Devansh? Clear na? Surya? Ansh? Ojas? Rishank? Perfect. Keep going. Find average acceleration at time t. Find dv by dt. Find d mod v by dt. And there are two integrals also. Thing, you know what? When you see these questions now, these are scary. People get scared and they don't understand what the hell is happening. That is when you need to understand. You know, if it is scary, means most people are going to leave. So if you can handle something like that, that means you'll be in a better position. That is how you need to think. And try to understand now the examiner ka job is not to scare you or give you something impossible things. He will give you something looking scary, but actually if you understood the basic meaning behind it, you'll be able to solve them much faster. So when you see a question, don't be scared. It's okay. You say, I don't know how to do, but never be scared of a question. Always think like the examiner is not a stupid person, right? The examiner knows you have only 2 to 3 minutes per question. So he will give you something which is solvable in 2 minutes. See, that is how should your mindset. That helps a lot. Because I still remember, there was a question before COVID. One of the students asked me. I tried full day, I didn't get the question. It was a question in electrostatics. I was doing integration, I was doing everything, and I was not getting it. And even I understood kya karna hai, but even then it was taking, calculation was taking half an hour, 40 minutes. Then I said, yeah, this is bullshit. So first thing I said, examiner ka mindset ye tha, is not expecting you to do the question for 40 minutes. The question has to be done in 2 minutes or 3 minutes max. Then I started thinking from that perspective. So this question belongs to which chapter? So what are the concepts involved? What is he asking? Is there anything that I can do faster? So once I started thinking in that way, right, I figured out the question in 4 minutes. So the most important thing is the belief. You need to believe it can be done, and then your mind will start finding reason for it. But most of the times, what happens? You see a question, you get scared, and your mind will start supporting, saying like, haha, it is very tough. It's okay, leave it, leave it. So it's important that you believe that you can do it. How do we do this thing? The average acceleration. What is average acceleration? Change in velocity by time? So what is V initial? Again, try to say this. So initially you're here going up. So the initial vector, the magnitude is U, and you're going up the U j cap. V final, you're somewhere here. Now you can ask me, sir, how do you know every time you're there only? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That's why we took theta as a variable. If somewhere you're here, theta will be an obtuse angle. If you're here, theta will be greater than 180. So the theta will take care of the angle. So don't worry about it. You can always assume theta is acute and solve for convenience. The angles will take care of themselves. So this was your final vector, V final, which we just calculated, minus u sine theta I cap plus u cos theta j cap. So first thing, let's find change in velocity directly. This itself is a question, find change in velocity. V final minus V initial. This guy would be minus u sine theta I cap plus u cos theta minus u j cap. Sometimes they'll ask you, find the magnitude of change in velocity. Again, the same story. Sine square theta cos theta minus 1 cos square. Expand this, you end up with 1 plus 1 minus 2 cos theta. You know how this will work out to be 2u sine theta by 2. Same result, that 2r sine theta by 2, 2u sine theta by 2. This was asked in CET or BITS. कुछ में कहीं तो पूछा था exam. Find the magnitude of change in velocity. 2v sine theta by 2. Straightforward. So what is average acceleration? Change in velocity vector by time. So just dump it there. This is a useful result, right? Standard result. मतलब BITS exam has 130 questions in 3 hours. JEE mains exam has 75 questions in 3 hours. So if you think, I'll go to the exam and I will derive everything from scratch, you will run out of time in exam like BITS. CET exam is 150 questions. So you should know your results, then you'll be able to mark them and go ahead. You need to spend that time, whatever you saved for. So there are some tough questions. Easy questions will get you a rank till 3,000-4,000. You want to go ahead, then you need time to do those tough ones. And for that, you need to remember standard results. If you think like I will derive each and everything, you are in a big soup. So get rid of that mindset like, it is important. You should know how to do. Remembering is not bad. Only remembering without understanding is bad. Clear with this? That is E part. I hope everyone got. Let's get F and G. Try. I'll give 2 minutes. Let's see what are these. dv by dt, d mod v by dt, integral v dt, integral mod v dt. हाँ वो just you got it. वो तो किया था actually dv by dt ना vectors में we did something like that I guess. You're right. Keep going. Let's see the F part. So V bar is minus U sine U sine ut by r I cap plus. So you want dv by dt. So we know dv by dt is nothing but acceleration. Differentiate this, you end up with minus u square by r. I'm directly writing it down. You can verify. You're confused, please ask. This we did in differentiation. This is actually minus u square by r. If you remember, r cap. This is called a centripetal acceleration, which we will learn later on in circular motion. Or I'm sure in school you heard these words: centripetal force, centrifugal force, Fichte's force. I don't know if you heard about it. Next thing, what is mod v bar? Mod v bar is nothing but speed. In this case, it is u. In this case, it is constant. So basically, you're asking a rate of change of speed. That's the meaning of mod v bar. So always try to understand like that. What is v bar velocity? What is mod v bar speed? So what is dv by dt of mod v? Rate of change of speed. This is not acceleration. Acceleration is rate of change of velocity. And in our question, it is 0. Why? Speed is not changing. It's going with a constant speed. No? That was the question. Say particle is going in a circle with a constant speed here. So if the particle had been increasing speed in a circle, then you would have got it. Imagine a car going in a circle with increasing speed, like a car race. In that case, d mod u by dt won't be 0. Clear with this thing, everyone? If any doubts on this? The g part. How do we integrate this guy now? What is the meaning of this? You can put the value of v mod v and integrate, but try to actually understand the meaning of it. Think, take a minute.
So,
Yeah.
so suppose we take a differential quantity, suppose dA by dt, and if we multiply dA by dt with suppose again dt by dt, so it will be the same, right?
Okay.
So
Same, no?
yeah, so in the numerator, if we do dA into dt upon dt square, right? So
वो
dt is
dt square
already
नहीं है,
small.
dt square नहीं है वो. Remember, you technically can't do such things. They might work out, but remember this thing. This is d by dt. ये पूरा एक function है ना ये. That dt is not a term. This d by dt is an entire thing. Is an operator. Getting it? So you can't say like that. नहीं होगा. That's a mathematical thing. ठीक है? It's like saying, let's say if you have 5 plus 3, so what I will do, I will take 5 minus 3 and I will take that vertical line to the side. Then 5 minus 3 will be 2 to the power 1. So 2. Also, just imagine, this is a new kind of max. Something like that. Actually, if you see, na, remember, मैंने जो किया था dv by dt into dr by dr, and then I took these two and said this is called v. It works out. Answer आ जाएगा. But if you show this to a max teacher, he'll punch you right and left. Getting it? So answer comes out, but that's a wrong way of interpreting it. But like I said, we physics people don't give a damn about it. It is working, so let it keep simple. It works. There is a way to make it work, but you should not be doing that. So be careful. Don't cancel it out and don't take it. Let's see the G part. Now let's try to understand the meaning of this. The particle is going in a circle. At t0, you are here. Where will you be at pi r by u? At time pi r by u will be on the opposite side. Isn't that where you will be? Because the time taken to complete one revolution is 2 pi r by u. So you're saying the time is pi r by u, then the distance traveled is speed into time, which is pi r. So basically you completed an half circle. Now let's try to understand integral v bar dt. This is velocity, this is displacement. So indirectly you're asking me find the displacement from 0 to pi r by u. In this case, which is minus 2r I cap, isn't it? So this is what you're asking to find, minus 2r I cap displacement. That's what I'm saying. Try to understand the meaning of it. Then when you say integral mod v dt, you're asking speed into time. So you're asking distance traveled in this time. Distance is pi into r. Understood? So putting that mod will change the whole thing. V bar dt is displacement. Mod v dt is distance traveled. In pi r by u, the particle will complete half circle. So displacement is going backward, minus 2r I cap. Clear? I hope now you're getting differentiating a mod and differentiating a vector. They're completely different things. But let's be one more question. You'll get a hang of it. I hope everyone got this question. You should definitely try this on your own again. It's a good one. Turning the page. Next one. Any doubts on this? Go ahead, Ansh, Arnav, Arya, going ahead. Eighth one. We have a particle here at 0, comma L. It's on a y-axis there. We have a particle here going with speed u along this line. A particle moves with speed u parallel to x-axis. Starting from 0, comma L. So it's at a height. So find the position vector. Find dr by dt and find d mod r by dt. I would have asked you the d mod r by dt directly. This is your origin. Now look at this. Even though it is going in a line, just try to see the position vector. Initially, this is the position vector. After some time, this is the position vector. When the particle is here, this is the position vector. When the particle comes, this is the position vector. Can you see what is happening to the position vector? It is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. The vector size is increasing. So now d mod r by dt won't be 0. Let's get this. Now we will actually try to see the meaning of the d mod r by dt. Exactly what does it give? The particle is going in a line. Try. You got 2-3 minutes. First, let's do it pure mathematically, and then let's try to see the interpretation of it. Try. Just give it a try. I'll be back in a minute. Hmm. UTI plus. Yeah, vector is easy. See, after some time t, you will reach somewhere here. So how much do you travel? You must have traveled a distance of u into t. And what is this height? L. So what is this coordinate? Ut, comma, L. This is your R bar, which is Ut I cap plus L J cap. So R bar is straightforward. Ut I cap L J bar. So if you want dr by dt, that is also fine. That would be simply U I cap. That's the velocity. Kind of makes sense. But if you take mod R bar, which will be root over U square T square plus L square. Now you're saying let's differentiate this guy d mod r by dt. Now this is pure max sum. Also, there is no meaning, no understanding. I don't give a damn. I'll just solve and get the answer. So there is no meaning, nothing here. Just differentiating and finishing it off. So we have to remember, have to use chain rule. U square t square plus L square. But let's see the meaning of it later on next page. And if we differentiate this, what do we get? Half. This is something to the power of half. U square t square plus L square whole power half minus 1. And then differentiate whatever is inside. This turns out to be 1 by 2 root over u square t square plus L square. And then if you differentiate that, you end up with 2u square t. So the answer is u square t by root over u square t square plus L square. This is your answer. This is d mod r by dt. Did you see? Just putting that mod inside made the whole thing into something else. Luckily, previous question R was not changing, so your answer was 0. Every time it won't be. But let's see what's the meaning of this. But do have a look at this. Anyone not convinced with anything particular here, please ask. Clear? Now let's try to see the interpretation of this. So when this particle is going here, this is your r bar. This is your velocity vector u. Okay? Let this angle be theta. So if that is theta, this will be theta. This length will be L. This will be ut. This is 90 degrees, and this is a hypotenuse. L square plus u square t square. Now, if you resolve the velocity along r bar, so we get a component u cos theta, and we get a component u sin theta. Tell me one thing. What is that u cos theta trying to do? U cos theta is in which way? Along r bar, right? The u cos theta is trying to stretch the vector, isn't it? Whenever a vector changes, it can change in two reasons, right? One is magnitude and one is direction. Here we can clearly see the one who is responsible for changing the direction. The u cos theta is along r bar. And what is this doing? This is responsible for increasing the length of the vector. So the component along the vector that is actually increasing the magnitude. And what is u sin theta doing here? U sin theta is perpendicular. U sin theta is actually rotating the vector. Think about it. Next moment, where will the vector go? The vector will go from here to here, isn't it? Didn't the vector rotate from here to here? Who made it rotate? U sin theta is making it rotate, and the u cos theta is stretching the vector. Is that making sense, everyone? The component of the velocities, they have different roles. One component is stretching you, and one component is making you rotate. Isn't that the reason why in a circular motion, in a circular motion, this is r bar. How is the velocity? Velocity is this way. Both are perpendicular, right? Meaning there is no one to stretch the vector, na? That was the reason magnitude is not changing, but the vector is continuously changing direction. Did you get the meaning? That is the reason we got 0. Because there is no component who is responsible for increasing the length of the vector. The u sin theta is responsible for rotating the vector. So every time the velocity got two components, they play two different roles. One will change the magnitude, one will change the direction. That means we can clearly see from here, that means d mod r by dt, which is the rate of change of length of the vector. So we can see here, the one who is responsible of change of length of the vector is u cos theta. Make sense? And what is cos theta from here? Cos theta is adjacent side ut by hypotenuse root over u square t square plus l square. If you substitute here, you end up with u into ut by root over u square t square plus l square, which is u square t by root over u square t square plus l square. Same answer. Is that making sense? So if you know that the Yuka component is velocity, without differentiation, you would have got the answer. There's a technical name for this. This is also called as radial velocity, because the velocity is along the radius or along the vector. Clear? So basically, this is your u cos theta. Quite a useful thing, d mod r by dt. What about the other guy? What is u sin theta doing? Changing direction, right? What do you mean by direction of a vector? R cap is the direction of the vector, isn't it? Unit vector. So d r cap by dt is nothing but u sine theta. Clear?
Sir,
Avihan,
could you explain how we got it to be u cos theta?
you don't know how to resolve components.
No, sir, but why is u cos theta the rate of change of length of velocity? Shouldn't be
Okay.
the differential of it?
What is the length here? The black line.
Yes, sir.
So this u sine theta, can it increase this length horizontally?
No, sir. So then shouldn't be
Then who is
be
increasing?
u.
Only u cos theta is increasing. Arey God, simple na tu socho.
Oh,
If you're standing here, right? If you run in this direction, who is responsible for changing this length, this velocity, right?
yes, sir.
If you're running like this, why will this length increase?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Sir,
So
but like
basically, this.
there's this
Hmm,
differential, sir. So I don't understand why. Like, shouldn't we be differentiating u cos theta or something like that?
what are you talking, Rehan? What is
Sir, it's
C?
just
Understand? What is the meaning of this?
sir, it's the rate of change of the length of velocity.
So what is
Rate of
rate
change
of
is
change? What is rate of change of position vector?
so velocity.
Velocity. Then why didn't you differentiate V here?
Okay.
Why didn't you differentiate V here? Rate of change is only velocity, right?
Okay, okay, sir. Sir, now I understood.
ऐसा सोचो ना God. This is R bar. Let's say in small time t, this length is increased by dr.
Yes.
Then how much time? dt time. So what is this thing? Speed in this direction, na, which is u cos theta.
Yes, sir. Now I understood.
Yeah. Anyone
Yes.
else confused with this? Please ask. This is the meaning of d mod r by dt. All clear? Clear na, Vojas? Ansh? Niharika? Jainil? Ahana? Daksh? Great. Let's see something a little more simpler. A vehicle goes in a straight line. So we have a vehicle going with V1, vehicle going with V2. Case 1, vehicle goes with V1 for time T1 and then with V2 for time T2. Meaning, think like this, you're traveling with 30 kilometers per hour for 20 minutes and you're traveling with 70 kilometers per hour for 15 minutes. Find the average velocity. Case 2, vehicle goes 1/3 of the total distance with V1 and remaining distance with V2. Find the average speed in both the cases. I hope the question is clear. So vehicle is going in a line, but it has different speeds. Easy one, mostly a CET level question. Even at a mains level, this would be an easy one. Try. show you. Yeah. Second x. How did you get x, right? X to diya nahi hai na, Surya. You can't use x. The first case, this you're traveling with distance v1 t1. This is v2 t2. The average speed will be total distance v1 t1 plus v2 t2 by total time t1 plus t2. Straightforward. कुछ है ही नहीं. The second part of the question, you said total distance means you're traveling 1/3. So let this distance be s by 3. This will be 2s by 3. So I'm assuming total distance is s. Now remember, s is not given in the question. I am assuming. So answer me, there should be no s. So this s by 3, you're traveling with v1, and then 2s by 3, you're traveling with v2. So let this time be t1, which is distance s by 3, speed is v1. Let this time be t2, distance 2s by 3 v2. So average speed will be total distance s by time taken is t1 plus t2. This will be s by 3 v1 plus s 2s by 3 v2. S will cancel. 3 would go up and you end up with 1 by v1 plus 2 by v2. 3 v1 v2 by v2 plus 2 v1. That's your answer. Right, Ahana, you got it. Ishana, you also got it. Easy? All got this? Check it out. All got this? Next one. Turn the page. So in an exam like mains, right, out of 25 questions, again, assuming the paper comes like last 4 years, there'll be at least 10 questions of this level. Mains papers are not something out of the world. Even advanced papers are not out of the world. But the thing is, you need to have so much coverage that you should be able to solve everything. Next one. A particle is moving along x-axis. Whose x coordinate is given by x is equal to t cube by 3 minus 3t square by 2 plus 2t plus 1. This is the x coordinate. Find distance traveled in 3 seconds. Now, this is one thing. See, this is something I keep telling you. Just because you learned a concept doesn't mean you'll be able to do it. When you're solving questions now, when you solve enough questions, you'll start getting an experience. This experience, when you see a question, you'll start getting a feel, this thing now, something is going wrong. I don't know whether you noticed or anything. If anyone is a very hardcore gamer here, you will realize this. Getting it? At least this used to happen with me in the gaming also. While playing games, sound is very important. Let's say you're playing PUBG and you're standing behind a door and you can hear footsteps. Some people are so good at it, right? Hearing footsteps, they shoot and they kill the other person. Pros are on a different level. For them, sound becomes very important. Every small thing in this thing, right? They see that and they play accordingly. It used to happen with me, I used to play a game called Age of Empires, right? So normally na game is happening here, there is something happening here, means you have to scroll to see that. Just by hearing the sounds, I know what was happening. So accordingly, I used to play the game. My friends used to feel like, yeah, what the hell are you doing exactly? They never used to understood until the game got over. So same thing, right? When you're solving questions also, once you solve enough number of questions, you'll get a feel like, yeah, in this something is going wrong. So again, this is my experience. Whenever you hear the word distance, have some fear. So like this, when you solve a lot of questions, you'll understand there are certain words, there are certain parts, you see them and you know, yaar, kuch to gadbad hai. So this is one of the word. When you hear the word distance, 99% you can be sure it's a trap. Getting it? So let's see what is that trap. So, but be careful with that word, distance. Second part of the question, find the time interval. This is a good question. It's a proper advanced question. Can be asked in a more than one choice or a matrix matching. Find the time interval. When the particle is speeding up. Now look at the word, speeding up, meaning speed is increasing. If speed increases, we call it speeding up. And speeding down means speed is decreasing. Now here people have a misconcept. They think if acceleration is positive, speeding up. If acceleration is negative, speeding down. Now try to understand. Let's say if you have a vehicle, let's look at the four scenarios. This is acceleration, 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 acceleration. So if you see here, A is positive. Here also A is positive. Here A is negative. Here A is negative. Here velocity is this way. 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 So if you see velocity is positive, if you see A and B are in the same direction, so will the speed increase or decrease? Speed increases, right? So here A and B both are positive. The speed increases, this is speeding up. If you see here A is positive but V is negative, means both are in the opposite direction, speed is decreasing. So this is the thing you have to be careful. Just because acceleration is positive does not mean you're speeding up. Acceleration positive meaning it's on the right hand side. What if the person is going back and the acceleration is forward? His speed will decrease, isn't it? I hope everyone is getting the meaning of positive acceleration and speeding up. Both are not same. Look at here. Here V is positive, A is negative. Here also speed is decreasing. So if A and B are in the opposite direction, speed decreases. Here A is negative, V is also negative. Speed is speeding up. You can have a negative acceleration, still the particle can go faster. I hope everyone understood the meaning of speeding up and speeding down. It is not same as positive acceleration and negative acceleration. Positive and negative acceleration simply tell you the direction. Clear? Let's try this question. So in the exam, if you hear the word speeding up and speeding down, be careful. So I want the time interval. In which time it is speeding up, in which time it is speeding down. First, let's get the distance. No, just that's not the answer. in 3 seconds. If it is third second, I'll say na third second. What do you mean by distance traveled in third second? वो नहीं है. I got your point. It is not 5/2. You fell into the trap. No, Devansh, that's not the answer. See, what most people do. So x is t cubed by 3 minus 3t square by 2 plus 2t plus 1. So they say, okay, t is 0, x is 1. You want 3 seconds, I'll put t is equal to 3. Then x would be 3 cubed by 3, 9. That would be 27 by 2 plus 6 plus 1. 16, 32, 5 by 2. So they try to find this thing. So this is x final and x initial. But be careful. What are you finding exactly? When you do x final minus x initial, you are doing displacement. This is 5 by 2 minus 1 is 3 by 2. This is wrong. This is not what I asked you. I am asking you for distance traveled. What you get is displacement. This is the first thing you need to understand. And unfortunately, ये option answer में होगा. You can come happily. Now let's try to understand what is happening exactly. Now we know from this thing here, if you differentiate, what is velocity? dx by dt. So this guy would be t square minus 3t plus 2. This is your velocity. If you see when v is 0, we are getting time t is equal to 1 second and t is equal to 2 seconds. So this particle which is going in a line is stopping 2 times. I think Ishana, you might, you got it, Ishana. Ishana got it. So this particle, right, it is stopping for 2 times. So let's try to understand how is the motion. Initially at t is equal to 0, you're at x is equal to 1. Then this particle started going front and then it stopped. When did it stop? It stopped at t is equal to 1. It took a turn. Think about it. Every time you stop, you'll take a turn. And here, now the motion is actually happening like this on the same line. For you to understand, I'm drawing like curve. But it is actually going on the x-axis. It is going front, it is coming back, and it is going like this. So at t is equal to 1, where are you? At t is equal to 1, x ka value will be 1 by 3 minus 3 by 2 plus 2 plus 1. That is 11 by 6. That's fine for t is equal to 2 also. T is equal to 2, where are you? 8 by 3 minus 6 plus 4 plus 1, 5 by 3. That means at t is equal to 1, you reach the point x is equal to 11 by 6. Then you took a turn back and you continued going. And then again at t is equal to, again you stopped. So basically every time you stop, you take a turn. Isn't that why you stop? Think about it. Can you go straight and come back without stopping? The particle is actually turning front and back, and then it goes off like this. This is how the particle is going. At t is equal to 2, you are at x is equal to 5 by 3. At t is equal to 3, you are at x is equal to 5 by 2. Now, what you guys did in the beginning, you took this point and calculated this distance, you got displacement. But what is distance traveled? Distance traveled is this length, and this length. I hope you're getting. You went front, you came back, and then you went front again. So distance is the total length of the path. So the distance traveled, you went from 1 to 11 by 6. So I'll just put mod everywhere because it's just one magnitude. So 11 by 6 minus 1 plus, then you went to 5 by 3 minus 11 by 6 plus 5 by 2 minus 5 by 3. This guy would be 5 by 6. This guy would be 1 by 6. This guy would be 5 by 6. So 11 by 6 meters. That's your answer. Take it out. So the particle goes front, comes back, and goes front. So the particle is just not going in a line. So here the whole motion, right? This is what is happening. So the main idea is that if you get velocity 0 3 times, you know what is the meaning of it? Stop, 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 stop. That is the meaning. 3 times it is stopping. Every time you get V0, you're taking a turn. You're going back. So here the particle motion, right? The particle goes ahead. Right? Turns back. At x is equal to 11 by 6. And again turns back at 5 by 3. So it's taking 2 turns. Understood why is the distance a trap? So you have to be careful. This is the only way to do. You can't do any max, nothing. You literally have to draw the diagram and see how it is traveling. You need to find the coordinates every time it stops, and you have to little manually calculate the path. There is no way mathematically you can put this and dump it. You can, but that will be more complex. End of the day, you're doing the same thing. All clear with this? Question still not over. Find the time interval when the particle is speeding up and speeding down. How to do that? Try, take a minute. How do you find this thing? See. So we got velocity is t square minus 3t plus 2. If you differentiate this, I get acceleration dv by dt, which is 2t minus 3. So this would be t minus 1 into t minus 2. And here, if you see the acceleration, take out 2 common, you'll get t minus 3 by 2. I'm sure you must have studied something like a wavy curve theorem or something like this. So if you look at here, look at the time intervals. For t less than 1, if you look at velocity and acceleration, and t between 3 by 2 and 1, and if you look at t between 2 and 3 by 2, basically we are dividing the time intervals, and for t greater than 2. Now have a look at this. If t is less than 1, this is negative, isn't it? T less than 1, both are negative, means velocity is positive. For t less than 1, this is negative. Are you getting what I'm doing? If t is less than 1, acceleration is negative. Both are negative, negative, so it becomes positive. Means what is happening? Speed is decreasing. This is speeding down. So for time less than 1 second, from 0 to 1, the particle is speeding down. If t is between 1 and 3 by 2, you can take a number 3 by 2. This is positive, this is negative. So velocity is negative. Acceleration is also negative. Means speed is increasing. For t between 3 by 2, this is still negative. Acceleration becomes positive. This speed is again decreasing. For t greater than 2, this is positive. This is also positive. Speed is increasing. This is how you figure out whether something is speeding up or speeding down. You need to check in which time interval velocity is positive, in which time interval acceleration is positive. If both are positive or both are negative, speeding up. If both are opposite, speeding down. And how do I know how to take these time intervals? You can clearly see here t is equal to 1, t is equal to 2, t is equal to 3 by 2. I can see the three sections there. So basically, I'm getting 0, 1, 3 by 2, and 2. So this is one time interval, one time interval, one time interval, and 2 to infinity is another time interval. So there are 4 time intervals. That's how I know there are 4 parts. So exam may they'll ask this as a matrix matching, in which time interval speed is increasing. So on the right hand side, there'll be like options, you have to choose them. So speeding up ka option would be 1, 3 by 2 union 2, infinity. That's your speeding up ka option. If you see, I'm not using square brackets because 1 and 3 by 2 are not included. I hope you guys know the meaning of square brackets and normal brackets. I hope you learned in maths. So yeah. If I put like this 1, 3 by 2 square bracket means this 3 by 2 is included. Here it is not included. Velocity becomes 0. Please check out this page. Any doubts? It's a pretty good question again. This will be a proper advanced level. Clear? Any doubts on this? Great. Next one. Try this as a homework question. We have done this before. So we have a wheel here. So we have a point A here. So initially it is like this. So when the wheel starts rotating, if you see the A goes something like this. Point A does not go in a straight line, it will go in some weird path. The point A reaches here. So basically a wheel of radius r rolls on a floor without slipping. So find the distance traveled by point A when it rotates by an angle theta. The wheel has completed a rotation theta. Getting this? So if you look at this path now, let me show you how it would have looked. So whenever a wheel rolls, this is how the path looks. It's not a circle. Huh? if you see, this is the path of A. So this path ka name is called a cycloid. It's not a semicircle. It looks like that, but it's just a cycloid. So this curve ka, so when it rotates by theta, I want you to find this distance. You're getting what I'm asking? So this is how the point A goes. So if you actually tie a ribbon or something to your cycle ka wheel, and when you use the cycle ka wheel, this is how that ribbon goes. It just jumps like this thing. Is the question clear, everyone? So this, give it a try. It's a pretty good one, right? Now see, this is what I'm saying. Take some time. We will discuss this on Thursday. So you can find some hints about this thing. We have done this before somewhere, where? Vectors. To see if you can get any hints from there. Do some little researching, find out about this guy. Same thing, I showed you this diagram before also. See if you can get any hints from here and try to solve. Okay, so today we'll be wrapping up a little early, and this is the last one for the day. So do try this. On Thursday when we meet, we'll continue with this. So next class when we meet, we are going to start with uniformly accelerated motion. The three equations, V is u plus at, S is ut plus half at square, that one. That will be more easy. So if you see, even there calculus will come, but yeah, it is much better than, easier than this stuff what we did so far. So we have done almost 10 plus 1, 11 problems are there. So do make sure to try them again. And I'll be posting the results. Did you guys find any errors in the paper? Any issues, anything that you thought of? Do send it to me by night if you think if there is anything.